There was talk about a possible new concept for Mercedes at the beginning of the season. The team acknowledged that this concept, which didn't include sidepods, had limitations. However, due to financial restrictions, it seemed impossible for them to change the concept during the season. Surprisingly, the sidepods were seen on the W-14 car in Monaco. According to Mercedes boss Toto Wolff, there will be 2 significant upgrades coming in the next few weeks, suggesting a trend of continuous improvements. Join us as we uncover the secrets behind Mercedes' quest for dominance and their relentless pursuit of victory. Buckle up because the race is about to begin. But before we do that, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below if you like all things F1. Alright, now let's get back to the video. Currently, Mercedes is working on 2 upgrades. In a recent race, Lewis Hamilton was 14.1 seconds slower than Verstappen, highlighting the flaws of the Mercedes car rather than its strengths. With these 2 upgrades, Mercedes hopes to close the gap to Red Bull and compete for a race win. However, the extensive improvement project in Monaco has raised concerns among other teams due to the cost restrictions imposed. Nevertheless, it seems that Mercedes will continue to introduce updates and improvements indefinitely. "We will bring a big upgrade to Silverstone," Wolff said. Following the Canadian Grand Prix, the Austrian driver openly expressed his ambition to secure a victory at Silverstone. His confidence in achieving this feat stems not only from the track's unique qualities, but also from the anticipated impact of a new upgrade package. "After that, we shall have another one before the summer break," Wolff added. It's worth noting that the summer break begins only 3 weeks after the British Grand Prix. This means that Mercedes will have the new upgrades in rapid succession, perfectly timed for either the Hungarian or Belgian Grand Prix. It's just that we're learning things much faster since we changed our conceptual architecture. We should be able to make reasonable steps in the next 4 races, Wolff highlighted to the busy month of July. Wolff mentioned that the team is gaining a better understanding of the car. But then, we understand the simulations better. Our correlation between the simulations and what we see on the track is good. That has been our biggest problem in the last year and a half. We've seen some good performance improvements in the wind tunnel. We understand better what the car needs to go faster and what kind of tunings we need to use. So, the steps we're taking are getting bigger. I think we're going well, Wolff continued. Currently, the Silver Arrow is facing difficulties on the straight sections and when attempting to accelerate in slow corners. The decision to have a bigger rear wing was to fault for the low top speed. Aston Martin and Red Bull chose a win with less downforce. The traction concerns are still present with this car, but we're getting better and better there too. The new platform we have now helps us there, added team boss Toto Wolff. Hamilton highlighted the aspects that are still lacking, saying, "We need more downforce in the rear, better traction and less air resistance." Mercedes feels that the final step to Red Bull is as simple as an upgrade. And we have 2 more races in the next few races, a big one at Silverstone, the other before the summer break, reveals Wolff. If the upcoming parts prove to be as successful as the previous development phase, Mercedes could potentially challenge Red Bull in the second half of the season. The question arises whether they will have the ability to contend for a race victory at Silverstone. Additionally, their competitors, Aston Martin, have also introduced improvements in Canada, allowing Alonso to maintain his position in P2 during the race. It's clear that they are also making progress and not staying idle. The performance of Mercedes in Canada came as a pleasant surprise to the team and was greatly appreciated. Toto Wolff, the chief of the Mercedes team, expressed his satisfaction with the team's improvement, especially as Lewis Hamilton secured a 3rd-place finish in the Canadian Grand Prix. "We're on a positive and encouraging trajectory," the Austrian mentioned. "Our new car works well. We knew that Canada is one of the most difficult ones for us, and coming out in P3 is a solid result, not too far away from Max. I think he backed off a little bit at the end, but we were much closer than we would have expected. At the beginning of the year, we would have been murdered on this kind of circuit," Wolff added. Even though Lewis Hamilton couldn't compete with Max Verstappen or outperform Fernando Alonso in the Canadian Grand Prix, he found satisfaction in clinching 3rd place. Just to be consistent and fighting for a podium relatively up there consistently is fantastic for us, Lewis said. Ultimately, it was a difficult weekend for some people. If the Ferrari is qualified where they should have, they would have been a bit quicker than us and they would have been difficult to overtake. But that wasn't the case, and overall, we did a better job than everyone else. We just need to work on the performance of the car, particularly at the rear. That's the biggest weakness, particularly in low speed. I couldn't keep up with those guys. We're on the right track. We've just got to add a lot more performance in the low speed. I'm forever grateful for everyone back in the factory. We've just got to keep churning away and I'll try to keep pulling out these results, he added. The Canadian Grand Prix proved to be another promising event for Mercedes, as the W-14 car showcased impressive racing performance and consistency, similar to what was seen at the Catalunya track 2 weeks prior. While Mercedes celebrated their second and third place finish in Barcelona, there were concerns that the characteristics of the Spanish track, much like in 2022, might mask some of their weaknesses. However, these concerns were put to rest with the W-14's strong performance in Canada, where Lewis Hamilton secured another podium finish and remained in close proximity to Fernando Alonso. Aston Martin's upgraded package provided them with a notable advantage in the previous race, bolstering the AMR 23 and responding to Mercedes' recent developments. Nevertheless, the performance gap between Mercedes, Red Bull, and Aston Martin has significantly diminished since the early rounds of the 2023 season. More importantly, Mercedes has resolved the correlation issues that have plagued them since the start of 2022, which is a crucial development for the German team. Now, what the car does on the track correlates with what we're measuring in the simulations, Toto Wolff explained after the race in Montreal, and it has done that for a year and a half. Nevertheless, you have to keep both feet on the ground. Alonso in the Aston Martin is still a threat, and Max is even stronger up front. It's not about third or fourth place for me either. It's really a learning curve to get better, and then at some point compete for victories, added Wolff. The views expressed align with the assessment made after the Spanish Grand Prix, affirming that Mercedes' new philosophy is the right path for long-term success. The return of James Allison to a more active role within the team has played a significant role in this season's progress and will be even more crucial for the development of the W-15 in 2024. Mercedes has already demonstrated their ability to make substantial changes this year, resulting in instant improvements in performance, signaling the full potential of their package. While Red Bull continues to dominate in Formula 1, there are reasons to be optimistic about Mercedes' prospects of closing the gap further. James Allison's return to the team has been nothing short of incredible so far, and during his media interactions in Canada, the enthusiasm he expressed for the W-14 and W-15 was evident. His appointment at Mercedes' technical director earlier this year marked a new development path at Brackley, with the team realizing the need for innovation following the Bahrain Grand Prix. Although it's still early to determine the ultimate success of the latest W-14 improvements, the performances in the Spanish and Canadian Grands Prix have undoubtedly served as inspiration for everyone involved in propelling the German team forward. It's well known that Catalunya has historically been a favorable circuit for Mercedes. Canada serves as a starting point for the new modifications aimed at getting the Silver Arrows back on track. James Allison expressed his delight in being involved in the team's growth at Mercedes once again, stating, "I'm certainly enjoying it. I think it might be a bit grandiose to say I'm putting all these things in place. I'm just tucked in with my colleagues, plotting and scheming what we're bringing for the track this year. And also similarly, what we're trying to do for the next year. We've just had the main press conference, and I was trying to express what an actual thrill that is. When you've got a bit of a picture forming internally with all your fellow engineers of how that journey is going to look. And it's a bit like waiting for Christmas. You can't wait for it to arrive, and it's very exciting." For now, one could argue that James Allison's most crucial task is to ensure that the upcoming W-14 car overcomes the challenges that have troubled Mercedes in recent times. The reappointment of James Allison appears to be a positive sign that they will be able to achieve this. It emphasizes the significant impact that a single person can have on an entire racing team, just like Adrian Newey's influence on Red Bull. Without him, Red Bull wouldn't have attained their current dominance under the current regulations. Let's hope that James Allison can become Mercedes' equivalent of Newey, so we can witness some thrilling battles for first place in the upcoming races. As the checkered flag waves and the dust settles, we eagerly anticipate the next chapter in Mercedes' quest for greatness. Will their relentless pursuit of victory propel them to the top of the podium? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.